welcome aboard the big seat on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music, great friends. Good morning from wherever you're tuned in. My name is Wesige Banyaji, right here on Plot 12, Motilen, Mbara City. We are right opposite Ntare School. Now, so you know, we are recruiting. If at all you want to do the big set, I've done the big set for a very long time, 9 years, so you could perhaps be planning on replacing me. Or any other show that there is, the morning addiction, the hit selector, the evening switch, name it, reading news, we are recruiting. So if at all you have your papers or doubled with the passion and loving the game of radio, yeah, you can be able to drop us a 1 minute video and a picture of yourself, talk about everything that you are, and send it to info at cruisefm.com. We shall be able to get all that information. The deadline for applications is on the 12th, on Tuesday. That's the right date. So on Tuesday, we're closing out. Don't hesitate. To those that meet us and you badly tell us, I want to be a radio presenter, where can I start from? An opportunity is now. Please lock in. And for all those that are listening online on www.cruisefm.com/stream and on Cruise TV for TikTok and YouTube, we welcome you. For an opportunity to be a part of the conversation this morning, you can call in on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Now, let's get kicked on in the recap of the week before we get into our topic of discussion that is already on our social media handles. Now, Muslims across the world yesterday celebrated Eid al-Adha, where they were urged to slaughter animals in a celebration of Prophet Ibrahim, who was willing to give up his only son Isaac as a sacrifice to God. Muslims who invited non-Muslims for lunch and for nyama choma and the celebration, you did good. I hope they reciprocate come December for Christmas. Various Muslim clerics urged governments to release political prisoners and also allow those that are ailing to seek medical attention out of the prisons. If at all a prison cannot take care of a person that is ailing, why not just allow them to go outside and they seek health care? That was across the world, definitely, and we congratulate the Muslim community on celebrating Eid al-Adha. Members of the National Resistance Movement, who are intending to stand for various positions, have picked nomination papers as they prepare for the primaries within the party. I know a couple of people that are already in Kampala to pick papers, including our very own Asimu Ebanjizi, originally here on the big seat. And there's so many, Honorable Rita Kwasa Waka, and there's so many who are ardent contributors here on the big seat. We wish them well. I also know the National Unity Platform opened applications for all these different slots within the party for those that want to run under that particular vehicle. So let's encourage all our people to go and be part of the politics. Don't wait for the results. Just be a part of the entire process. Now, the People's Front for Freedom, a political outfit started by opposition leader, the retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, and other members finally received their certification of registration from the Electoral Commission. We congratulate them too for having obtained now legal status as a political party. Uganda mourns veteran East African DJ Bush Baby, who some majority of us that grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s will remember DJ Bush Baby on the East African radio and East African TV. He promoted with 8 members of parliament, notified her of an intention to switch political parties ahead of the 2026 general elections. We know Attorney Akol left the FDC to the NRM. We know Ojara Mapenduzi left the being an independent to the NRM, but definitely independent leaning to the opposition is now. And a couple of other people that have crossed from NUP to NRM, Dr. Kagabo, and there's so many others. From is there anyone who has crossed from the movement to the NUP? Not as yet, but definitely we've seen from DP and other political parties to the NUP. This is in line with Article 83 2A of the Constitution that allows members of Parliament in their last or final year in the 12 months they can be able to cross over from all these different political parties. Now, if at all you're following on the international scene, President of the United States, Donald Trump, soured relations with the director of government efficiency, the billionaire Elon Musk, over a bill that intended to remove government subsidies on the tech giants. And there's been a lot of negative energy and hot air between the two on X. And definitely with Donald Trump saying Elon Musk has lost his mind, but also Elon Musk saying without him, Donald Trump would not have won that election. That is boiling very nicely. We shall follow. But this morning, we are talking about the State of the Nation address. It's already on our social media handles. President Museveni addressed the country yesterday. What did he miss? What did he hit? Is a matter that we shall be talking about. Let me welcome the panel. Deus Didit Bwenje came very late for the show, embarrassingly late for the show. He's here, and I have Mr. Peter Mpaka. Is a member of the National Interplatform. Another person who is already on the way coming is the NRM stalwart, Stephen Katamba Muvunya. Very unfortunate that Ugandans just can't keep time. I have a very good friend in a lawyer, Ian Agava. He's a debater, environmental, conservative. You have so many words. Conservationist, things like that. Good morning, Peter Mpaka, and welcome to the Big Set.
Good morning, Westje.
Yes.
And good morning to my friends here on the panel and the listeners out there. I wish you the best, as always. And I pray that as we gear into the election, of course, the people of Mbara City North, I'm coming for MP. Please remember, we are in a protest vote. We are protesting against the bad governance, the mismanagement of our country, and we pray that this time around we will turn the tables, or we will bang the tables like one gentleman said.
You've been very lost. Your phones have been off, and we couldn't trust you. We were worried that you could have joined one of my boys who does my woodwork at Makan Singh in jail in Fort Portal, where he literally bruised and beaten because of affiliation to the National Interplatform.
For me, I'm busy doing door-to-door in my constituency, trying to look for support and for the vote, so that we deliver the Uganda that we need. We have a lot of harassment to our colleagues, and actually let me use this opportunity to condemn such an act, because political affiliations per se is not a crime in this country. So for somebody to be jailed and be beaten and be bruised because they belong to the NUP or they belong to any other political party, it is something we condemn in the strongest possible terms.
Welcome, Mr. Peter Mpaka. Good morning, Bwenje, Deus Didit, and welcome to the Big Set.
Yes, the pleasure is mine. Of course, on the 3rd of June, which was a Martyrs' Day, there was an explosion in Munyonyo.
Yes.
And I saw the UPDF spokesperson on TV trying to convince us of what had happened. But he was very confused. He was so unsure of what he was saying. His words did not add up. Actually, it was very easy to mistake him for a spokesperson of the NRM. Because either the intelligence of the UPDF is compromised, or they don't know how to investigate. Because how do you say that we as the UPDF engaged engaged those two persons, yet we don't see any exchange of fire. He said they were shot by the UPDF.
But if
we don't see the person shooting them.
Yes.
We don't. Actually, there's even no evidence at all that the two of them were actually suicide bombers.
But I
It was
saw
so
I
heavy,
saw on a
it was.
particular platform where you were at, and your
Yeah.
opinion was this could not even have been a bomb. Rather, there was something else that caused the blast. The
No,
Council
it
Boyd.
was not me. I didn't say it was not a bomb.
I'll show you that message in
and
the break.
actually, there's no evidence that they were going to
To Munyonyo.
the yes, and I wondered.
Okay.
So I think I beg the UPDF to be more professional, to do its statutory role of investigating and protecting the territorial boundaries of the state of Uganda.
Welcome, Bwenje. Yes, my friend Ian Agaba, good morning and welcome to the Big Set. For the very first time.
Thank you so much, Council Wesige. For the listeners out there, my name is Ian Agaba, and he said that I'm an environmental something.
Yes.
But I am a climate justice activist and a social justice activist. But at the same time, I am a lawyer. So what I majorly look at is how best can we give justice to the people. Because you see, the purpose of government, Council Wesige, is to provide for the people. Because the people on their hand, they pay taxes. And when people pay taxes, what they expect from the government is to get services. So I think as we dive into the topic tonight, we are going to actually see if the State of the Nation address or if the last year has actually given us the services that the government ought to give us.
Okay,
Thank you.
welcome to the Big Set. The late comer, Stephen Katamba Mufunya. Welcome to the Big Set.
Yeah, Council Wesige,
Yes.
I want to greet you. And behind me there is a team that is your greatest listener. A team from Chitagwenda, Kamwenge. When you are here, their small radios are open, even online. So they watch you, they like you. There is a man called Amon. Amon is the youth chairperson in Chitagwenda district. That man likes you. Mr. Wesige, you are making wonders. You are excelling. Your voice.
Thank you so
You are
much.
making wonders. Mr. Wesige,
Yes.
you know I come from far.
Yes. Chitagwenda.
Yes, Chitagwenda. As far as from Chitagwenda this morning, I ran late shortly, but eventually I am here. I thank God for the journey. Mr. Wesige, the other day, I have always told you that the democracy here in Uganda is very good. The other day, I saw the human rights lawyer, Madamu Atuheire, complaining. She was shedding tears.
After being beaten in Tanzania.
How she was beaten in Tanzania. Not even being beaten, but raped. She was even raped. She was confessing. I have always told you that Uganda here, the democracy is too much. And in fact, when you go to the polls,
Yes.
democratic polls in Africa,
Yes.
Uganda is becoming the best.
We're stopping for a breather. Yes.
Number two, World Bank. You have heard news.
Yes.
That World Bank is bringing its funds back to Uganda. I want to thank Museveni. Never, he did not get scared by the hoodwinking style of Western world.
Okay.
The man is a hero.
Let's stop for a break. When we come back into our topic of discussion, that's Katamba Stephen Muvunya from Chitagwenda. Good morning.
It's tough, it's bold, it's
back at 27 minutes past 9 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM, great music, great friends. My name is Wesige Banyaji, and the big sit happens every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11. What happens is we sit to talk about matters that affect you and I. As the countrymen of Uganda, this is not exception this morning, we talk about the State of the Nation address. The president at Kololo airstrip addressed Parliament in his State of the Nation address for this particular year. Under the law, he's supposed to give us an account of how the economy is working, how the rule of law and the governance pillars of our country and constitutionalism are being advocated for by government, and all our foreign and domestic policy and all these other different issues in management of the state. The president talked to us about the economy, and definitely it wasn't very surprising, taking us back from 1986, where he started from as president when he took over power, up to where we are. The population was about 13 million. We are 46 million. So you would expect that with the growth of the numbers and the size of the economy, there's a lot of work to be done. Must we keep President Museveni come 2026? That answer will be given by Ugandans when we go to the polls. With me in studio is Katamba Stephen Muvunya. He wants to be the chairperson LC5 for Chitagwenda district under the NRM. Council Bwenje Deus Didit is a human rights lawyer and a panelist here on the big set. We have a guest, Council Ian Agava, who is a lawyer and a social justice advocate and an environmental conservative. Yes, climate change, that. And I have Peter Mpaka, who is a member of the National Interplatform. He's a big seater. And I want to talk about what happened at Asama slightly. We know that there were blows that were exchanged. We saw people running away with ballot papers. It was a lot of drama and the National Delegates Conference for the Democratic Party. Eventually, Chairman Mao, who has been President General of the Democratic Party for about 4 terms, was re-elected, and definitely this cements the cooperation agreement that DP has with the National Resistance Movement. And to pick the mind of the panel this morning of what they think of what happened at Asama. Bwenje.
I think it was a total mess, and it is actually embarrassing that a party in opposition, presumably so, has such kind of mess, and it shows us that we are very far away from practicing internal democratic principles
Within the parties.
Yes, and I think Mao was extremely single-minded in the pursuit of power. There was a lot of violence. There were skirmishes here and there. The police. It was actually hard to identify who is a member of the DP or not, who is a delegate of the DP or not. So I think there should be internal assessment within the party of what exactly happened, and maybe if people are going to be punished, that has to be done, and if maybe some of the contestants think that the election, the purported election, was not free and fair, they should pursue their rights in courts of law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me have Muvunya. Muvunya, when the president was swearing in about literally 5 years ago, he was very categorical. I am wiping out the opposition. By close of business, there will be no opposition in Uganda. And he fast-tracked it with the cooperation agreement with the Democratic Party. The UPC has an informal arrangement with the NRM. We see members of the UPC appointed into cabinet. And the FDC, we see both Oboi Amriat Patrick, who is the president of that party, with the Secretary General Nanda Mafabi, campaigning to be president of the party, but their campaigns are structured in a way that both of them campaign at once in the same location to the same audience. So you've literally wrapped up the opposition. I think the biggest contenders now are either the PFF or the NUP. Is this how bad you want the opposition to be?
But what we are doing is the fair competition of political parties. Museveni said when he was in Hoima that he's going to plan and always win opposition. He didn't say that he's going to damage opposition. No, he said he's going to plan and make sure he wins opposition many times.
We were
this
alive
now-
in this country, Muvunya, and we know the statements of the president. We were alive. We were here.
That's what he meant.
And
When
he said he's going to wipe out. That's the word that he picked.
But opposition is there. Because DP was here in Mbarara at Summer Gardens voting, the delegates meeting when they are voting the leader. That democracy. And I want to tell you, Mr. Wesege, that President Museveni has created a very good environment for fair competition with the opposition. I want to tell you that when you consider what is happening now in neighboring countries, how opposition is being treated, you cannot compare it with us. In Tanzania now, the leader of opposition in Tanzania is in jail.
The same way the leader of opposition in Uganda is in jail.
Do you know why? Do you know why the opposition in Tanzania was arrested? Have you heard the cases he committed? The cases that are impossible. Here, what here we are seeing is that when you consider the reasons that are in court before a magistrate concerning Dr. Besigye, you can see there is a sense. You see, there are cases where you see that really the lot of rules. But here in Uganda, we have seen even people, the leaders of opposition, committing cases that are very hard. But they leave them.
Muvunya, was there an invisible hand of the NRA and the state? I beg your pardon. The NRM and the state in the Democratic Party National Delegates Conference.
In the constitution of all the parties, there is when the party has an internal election. What was here in Marara was an internal election of the DP. And I'm very happy that DP held an election. However much the confusion and the interruptions happen, but there was an election, and now DP has a president. It has leaders.
Are you happy about the new president of the Democratic Party?
Yes,
as the NRM?
And I'm happy and I'm congratulating him.
Okay.
I congratulate Mao for being elected as the president of the DP. Secondly, I saw confusion being brought by a man who doesn't qualify to contest as a president of the party. The DP constitution talks about the time frame of a person being a member of the party. It says that to contest as a president of the party, you must have been the party for 10 years. Mr. Honorable Sevamara has been in DP for 5 years. He doesn't qualify to contest as a president of the party. And when he was disqualified, he began to cause confusion and make his statements about the party. I am telling you, the confusion in all the parties of this country are caused by the people who doesn't love Uganda. When you see how Sevamara was putting on, the colors he was portraying in front of the camera, that man does not love DP. His reason to come was to confuse and fail the election. I want to thank the police and security organs in Mbarara, the RDC, Mr. Kanusu. Mr. Kanusu, thank you very much. You made sure that there was peace at the beginning of the process of elections until the end. Mbarara is okay in security wise. Okay. Number three, I respect DP because it is the oldest party in this country. And it has been there because most of the parties have died. The other day, Bobo in bought a party. He bought a party of Chibarama, and up to now, the cases have never seen in the court.
I think that is
Up-
wrong, and I
up-
invite him to
No,
withdraw that statement.
Noop was
If I
bought.
asked him,
Bobo Wayne.
how much?
Bobo Wayne and the group
No, no,
bought
no, no,
Noop from Chibarama.
No.
How
much money?
Mr. Wesige.
How
Mr.
much
Wesige,
money?
am I lying?
How
Am I lying?
how much
How
was
much
the
money?
party?
No,
vote?
I don't know how much.
exactly.
But it
No,
was
no,
bought
no.
from Chibarama. Chibarama put them to court.
No.
They were in court up to now. Up to now, the case is
So,
in
so
court.
did
There's no case in
Mpuga
court.
did Mpuga buy that party that he just converted to the Democratic Front?
Buying it from where? I am talking
But there
about
was an existing party
Yes, it
that
was.
Mpuga just converted to the Democratic
Do
Front.
you agree
The
that
same,
Chibarama?
the same with Muhammad Nsereko, who literally converted the ecological
Yes.
party into his own leadership.
This one was
It's
stolen.
what
There was an
Bobo
agreement with the Mpuga, but Noop and the Chibarama and the Bobo Wayne, there was a disagreement. So he cheated him. That's why he's in court.
Okay.
And I think for the record, there's no case in court between Chibarama and the NUP. That case was there and it was concluded on the
What was the matter?
technicality.
What was the matter with the court?
Okay. Yes, let me indulge Peter Mpaka here. The Democratic Party, we saw what happened at summer. The police literally deployed a battalion of police officers there. The other DC was there. Literally everyone was at Asama to make sure that that delegate conference happens. But was it surprising of what happened, knowing that prior to that there was an engagement in Gulu with General Sadem Sade, where he had an interface with some of the delegates and calling on them to, be patriotic and all that. Mao facing resistance and opposition, especially from Buganda, people from Buganda. What does the activities of the National Delegates Conference speak of the state of the opposition especially?
Thank you, Westje. And it is very saddening to come on such a great show and you hear to the submissions of Mr. Katamba trying to say things that he exactly knows, but he presents them the other way around. Number one, that election here in Imbarara confirms the marriage between President Museveni and Mao, and that there is nothing that Mao is doing that is in the interest of the change-seeking Ugandans. Whatever Mao is doing and his faction, they are here to prolong the stay of President Museveni and his dictatorship. And that is the writing on the wall, and it is very clear. Now, like you have said that there was a meeting before with General Salim Saleh in Gulu, there is also rumors that the government, the NRA, sent one of its representatives with 6 billion here in Imbarara. So whether you wanted it or you didn't want it, the power of money had to be there. 6 billion was dispensed to buy delegates, to cause confusion, to make sure that Mao wins that election. Why? Because Mao is a compromise. DP will never emerge out of its shadows. DP will never become a strong advocate for change in Uganda as long as Mao is at the helm. And that is the same. That is the same with.
What are you speaking behind the microphone? Boy?
No. I'm there.
Okay.
I'm just asking.
Yes.
I have a point of inquiry I want to make.
To who?
Him.
Please do.
I want. He has stated that there was a person who came with 6 billion. Does he know him or her?
but
See,
this is not.
when-
You're not.
No,
He's
no,
not
no.
in the dock. You're not in
No,
court.
no. Is he?
He
When
doesn't
you
have
come-
to prove
No,
any statement
no.
here.
You see,
I think
when
let
you
me
come
continue
on
with my
TV,
submission.
You see,
Let
this
me-
is
let
a
me
national
continue.
TV.
Yes.
I was in even I think from Thursday up to Friday. People said they see me on TV.
Yes.
I was in Guru sometime back.
Yes.
People said they see me on TV. So when you come on TV here and start alleging,
Yes.
No,
I think it is a disservice
take
to
me
the
to
people
court.
of
I
Uganda.
think take me to the
And
right
it's
platform.
Substantiate.
No, let him.
Substantiate,
No,
Mr.
It is your
Peter.
I
duty.
will ask
And of course, you see,
advocate of the High Court that he
No, you
is.
see, it's
Take me
about
to
court.
court, and I will
No,
give
no,
you
no,
the
no,
name
no.
and
Okay,
the person.
let's move away
It's
from
not
that.
about court. But I asked you as a moderator
Take
also.
me to the right.
Let's stop
Pin
for a
him.
break. When we come
Pin
back
him.
into our topic of discussion.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music,
Great music,
great friends.
great friends.
While we are back, it's a quarter to 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM with music. With friends, Stephen Katamba Muvunya, Deus Didit Bwenje, Ian Agava, and Peter Mpaka are with me in studio. We are talking about the skirmishes in the Democratic Party National Delegates Conference. Let me speak to... Okay, yes.
I hadn't finished my submission, and these people started. No, I cannot
no.
withdraw anything
Yes.
because it is evident that the hand of the NRM is there to make sure that it confuses intentionally political parties. And I really want to congratulate the NUP for keeping its head high, keeping its head clear, and avoiding anything that tries to bring a behind the scenes hand and trying to confuse and
But
you know,
they are
disorganize the
choosing
party.
you of failing to even hold a mini national delegates conference.
The leadership of the NUP is trustworthy, and my confidence is still in their wisdom. If they so call for a delegates conference, we will have it. If they don't see need for a delegates conference, we don't need it. We don't need it if the leadership of the NUP doesn't need a delegates conference.
Okay.
So it's not up to the NRM man here to be the one drumming us, for us the drums to dance. But I want to say
Yes.
clearly on radio here that Mao, as a wife of the NRM, had to win because that's what they wanted. And whichever amount of taxpayers' money could be availed to dispense, to buy of people, to buy of police. I mean, you saw people, security personnel carrying ballot boxes as if they're the ones in
But
charge
those
of the
ballot boxes were carried just to take them away from a particular location to another. And this was in the presence of both the
Yes.
security, but also the agents of the different political contenders.
When people had just told you that people were stuffing in ballot, you have seen videos, people stuffing in ballot papers. You've seen videos, somebody elaborating how it had been planned, that they are not following even the alphabetical order. They are using code 1. So whoever was in number 1 had to be ticked. So all those are issues that we want to tell Ugandans that you cannot practice democracy when you are in an outright dictatorship. You cannot act normal in an abnormal situation.
Okay,
and we are
thank you.
congratulating NUP for trying to always broadcast the abnormality that Uganda is in.
Okay. Ian, I know that you know the person of Norbert Mao, and he must be your associate. Knowing that you won that election as a result of allegations of state interference and influence to have that election, happen in his favor, but also the conduct of Mao and the DP in as far as opposing President Museveni's government is concerned. What your take on what happened in Asama?
I think what we need to understand is that what happened at DP is the replica of what is happening in the country, Councillor Wesige. Because we have an election, a delegates election, an internal election that is manned by an RDC, not a Secretary General. The RDC was the one manning that election. And yes, our NRM cadre here is saying that, you see, they have a constitution. What constitution allows an RDC of another party to come and man an election, an internal election? So for me, to be clear, what happened at what happened at DP is a clear replica of what is happening in the country, that the structural reforms have failed, that the structures of a country has failed. You cannot come and say that NUP is doing well. It is not. It is not. Because look at what they did during when they were advertising.
They have never held any national
when they were
elections.
advertising for people to come and
Contest.
and contest. They did it in a day. So the country has failed. The structures have failed, and that is what is
Where
happening
does the
at
buck
DP.
stop? Who is responsible for the mess within all these different political parties?
The mess is very clear. It comes from the government, the ruling government. That is the mess.
That is what is influencing the actions of the different. Is it Museveni telling NUP not to organize a national delegates conference?
The answer is very simple, Councillor Wesige. The issue here is not on whether Museveni is the one telling the NUP or the DP to organize. The issue is that both the opposition is following structures that are not okay.
Okay.
That's not true. That is not true. Let me debunk this.
Yeah.
I've said that you cannot act normal in an abnormal situation. So he noted something. NUP within one day advertised for the neck positions, the president and secretaries for this and this, and it was closed in a day. The issue is, in such a situation where you have infiltration at all angles, what happens if you advertise, for example, for the president of NUP and you allow everyone to come and contest? Then later you will have somebody who is state-sponsored. The government President Museveni doesn't matter. Doesn't mind. He will sponsor somebody 50 billion. They will literally buy, and at the end of the day, we will end up with an FDC situation. So for me, NUP advertising and safeguarding their positions is wisdom. Is wisdom, because yes, is wisdom. That is wisdom.
Yes.
That is wisdom.
You must give me a question.
I'm going to give you an opportunity, Stephen.
What shows that Bobi Wine is not state sponsored?
what shows that he's state sponsored?
No.
For you,
I'm
what
asking
shows
no,
that
no.
he is state sponsored?
No.
For
You
you
see,
to answer that question,
the
what
re-
shows that Bob Wine is state sponsored?
Yes, the way he does it.
What has he done that shows that he's state sponsored? You substantiate.
Okay. Yes, Muvunya. I will give yes.
You know, NRM, we are from our internal election. You are aware, structure elections. We now have leaders from the village, the cell for the party up to the district. We are now planning to have a delegates conference in Kampala to elect our flag bearer, presidential flag bearer, and other national leaders. DP has finished here. It has now structure leaders. I have heard that even Auntie is organizing a delegates conference to elect structure party leaders. For NUP now, for the ages it has finished. I have never seen them have a delegates meeting to elect leaders. Bob Wine, the wife, the son Kampala, and around two people sit down in their sitting room and appoint the flag bearers. You will be shocked, my brother Wesige, how our brother Peter have been struggling with a beret on the head, and sometimes putting on red colors, symbolizing that is a strong supporter here of NUP. When they appoint,
they appoint
a flag bearer here,
and it's completely someone else.
and for he's left out. You wait, and he's struggling. You are not confident.
No,
you
I
will
am
lose.
safe. I want to put it on record that I am safe and confident in what my party will do. Even if they chose another flag bearer, I will stand behind that person and support him, because in the wisdom of the party, that is the best.
Let me put it
choice.
to you, as we sit here and castigate the DP for organizing
Yes,
a very
yes, leaders.
a very disorganized and hostile delegates conference. You have not held any delegates conference.
Yes.
And in fact, the statements of Katamba Muvunya in NUP simply appointing candidates is a known fact.
Do you know that the NRM yesterday or the other day has announced a shift, that they are going to also start vetting candidates to stop this chaos, like the chaos in Zimbabwe, the fights here, everywhere people are beating each other because of they are copying NUP. Actually, the NRM is now shifting to the methods of the NUP, and you're here castigating NUP. I don't simply understand you. For me, our principles, NUP principles, are loyalty, integrity, discipline. So if they choose Bwenje here, if they choose Bwenje, for me, Peter Mpaka, I will just be a disciplined, loyal cadre of the end. Frustrated who are you with? You will be here, you will be there when I'm laughing. So whoever they choose, I'll be safe and I will support that candidate.
Yes, Ian.
Wesige, we need to understand that the purpose of opposition, it has to be an alternative or a solution to what we are facing from the government. So if we are having an opposition that is a direct replica of the government, then as a country we have a problem, because you cannot say that you had a democratic election that was so hostile, and then we the people, we now have to choose from you. So for me, what I'm saying is, Wesige, the opposition is just trying to fill up elective positions, because they have turned elections into business. They have turned standing into business.
So what you're literally saying, if at all the DP is not able to organize something that is at least fairer than the NRM, there's nothing of choice that they leave you to do as the electorate. We're stopping for a break. When we come back, we shall link up in the second hour of the show. When we go strictly into the State of the Nation address, don't touch your radio. We'll be right back. Good morning.
It's tough, it's bold, it's real politics. The
I have Council Bwenje, Deus Didit, who is a lawyer. I have a lawyer, Ian Agava, and I have Mr. Peter Mpaka, who is a medical bio, those things, laboratory things like that. I am worried. Yes.
Advocate. You can just take this. I am an advocate of the court of public opinion. That's just enough.
Okay.
I'm a brother to the Abantabanyijurwe, and all of us together we are fighting for change.
The topic of this morning is the State of the Nation address. You can be able to contribute to the show on call by 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Our social media handles is 912 Cruise FM on X and 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook and Instagram. We've put a question on our topic this morning, and we're asking whether you think the president exhausted all that we are dealing with in the current state of the nation. But also to watch whatever that is transpiring here seamlessly. Type in Cruise TV on YouTube and TikTok. You'll be able to watch crystal clear like that. We're here at Plot 12, Mutilane. But don't forget, if at all you want to join this amazing team on Cruise FM as a presenter, you could come and just take up this slot and I retire. Just apply, record a 1-minute video of yourself, attach a picture and a bio or CV and drop it at info@cruisefm.com. We shall be able to get it all. The deadline is on Tuesday, so do it real fast and get to do your passion or something that you really love, or even the joblessness that is around. You could get yourself a job here. We are going to talk the State of the Nation address. Muvunya, the president did not talk about the torture, the beatings, Vesige in jail, and all these, illegal things that are happening to Ugandans. He didn't even talk about the bomb blast that had just happened the other day of 2 bombers who were heading to quote-unquote Munyonyo to blast those pilgrims that were in that place. Do you think the president was spot on with the state of the nation?
Yes, he was spot on because he talked what Ugandans feel that is very important to them. I want to tell Mr. Wesige that torture in Uganda is not there. There is only the rule of law and some few security elements that do bad things to people, but the opposition baptize that one to the government, which is not. Number 2, bomb blast. It happened that day when President Museveni was going to Namugongo, and it is still under investigation, and always the president is keen to speak on something that it has not been concluded by security. He has deployed very good security experts, and soon he's going to make a comment on that one. I want to tell you, Mr. Wesige, that the president talked about something that engaged in my life, and it caused a smile on my face. That is life. He said that life expectancy now is at 63 years. And in 1986, by the time NRM came to power, life expectancy was 45 years.
But if life expectancy is 63, let's take a sample. Cedric Babu, the son of Captain Francis Babu, died at 50. Bush baby Michael Benjamin Awar died at 50. Rajiv Ruparelia died at 35. And Bob Carbonero, Richard Carbonero's son, Robbie Carbonero, died at about 25 or 26, about that. So what is this life expectancy you're talking about when young people are dying one or even natural causes?
No, we are talking about general life expectancy. We are not talking about death because we all don't know where death came from.
Yes.
Even the unborn children die in their mother's womb, and we don't talk about those ones.
No.
So death is natural.
That's not right, because you see, life is the exact opposite of death. So when you talk about life expectancy, then death automatically comes in.
Yes, the mortality must be
Yes.
talked about.
So it is not
In
about
fact,
how long
Muvunya,
you live.
when you talk about the 68, 63 years as a life expectancy, you're literally saying the range under which Ugandans pass away. That's what you're talking about exactly. Yes.
A person dying by the old age.
But you see, some of the causes of death for majority of Ugandans are things that can be reversed. You know, if hospitals had healthcare, they had medication and the facilities that would enable these individuals to obtain care.
You see,
Let's allow him conclude.
The son of Kabonera is among the people who are able in this country. And I don't think that the son of Kabonera died because of bad facilities in this country.
But he was flown to Aga Khan. He actually died in Aga
Khan. He died in Aga Khan, the best hospital in Africa. So therefore, you can see that death is a natural nature. There is a way you can avoid it.
Okay.
But what we are talking about, listen, what we are talking about is that life expectancy now. That is the diseases, the fake and idiotic diseases that usually to kill people when they are young, has disappeared. So people now, if you don't get a natural hazard to take you out of this world, you can live by that age. Number two, he talked about the literacy rate. Very interesting. I have already told you that when I consider the election, how people elected people in 2010 and what is going to happen at 2026, I said the election is going to change. And I've always told you that now, the process of election where people would be pulled by people who went to school and vote for them. And eventually, you find the person that the person wanted to vote is not the one who has gone through. Because the person who took him voted his choice. It's not going to be there. Now, everybody now, by 2026, who is going to vote knows who to vote. So now the election is going to change. You're going to see things happening. The people have been here for very many years and proud, using the method of intimidation and money, are going to lose. The people who are going to come voted are going to be people of the people. Number three, he talked about, so he said that illiteracy, people can now write and read. Then he talked about...
Can you get a piece of paper and you write?
Okay. Yes. He talked about industrialization. Yes, industrialization, you know, it is Museveni's government now is every district has created an industrial hub.
How many industrial hubs do you have in Chitagwenda?
We have a district hub. Every district has an industrial hub.
So what are you producing?
It is land. No, we are not yet there.
Don't have it.
We are not yet there. The government, the district every district is supposed to secure land where to allocate the investors to build the factories. That's the program. And now some areas, when the Ministry of Investment are sending investors to those districts. Take an example now. In Kawarole, there is an investor who is building a factory here. Here, when you are going to Kashaka, I have seen Indians, they have established a factory of plywoods. It's there. People are buying trees, eucalyptus trees like nothing. That's in Mbarara here, around 10 kilometers from here, where we are seated here. So that is industrialization. In that place, before you reach Kashaka, Mbarara district has an industrial hub. I have seen them. The government has built their buildings for the investors where to begin from. Secondly, he talked about he has created a regional market. When you see now in Uganda, whichever we produce has a market. There is nothing now you can produce and have no market.
Okay, thank you.
Lastly, he promised that every youth is going to be skilled, going to be trained in skilling so that he's able to get employment, either by those industries or by himself.
Okay, thank you.
So Uganda, we are steady. We are progressing steadily.
Thank you. Peter Mpaka, for the very first time, I was able to associate myself with the State of the Nation address which the president gave.
Oh, really?
On the volume of coffee, I just left my mother's village in Masaka. People are endowed in coffee. They are growing coffee and they are selling these bags and they are buying cars and building homes and taking their children to school. Coffee has done magic. When I went to Masaka, literally every road is tarmacked. So some of these things that the president was talking about in the State of the Nation address is something that is being felt by the Ugandan people. Talk about the parish development model. The people in the villages have been able to receive these monies and they have been able to utilize the monies. So isn't it high time we now collected all those flowers and generously gave them to President Museveni for the good work done?
No, it's you're confusing something here. And you and President Museveni are in the same bucket of confusion. You see, in 1986, when President Museveni came to power, I was 3 months old. Today, I'm 40-something years old. I've grown. I have grown. Your confusion, together with President Museveni, is growth versus development. Your confusion is about quantity versus quality. And that's what we Ugandans are demanding from. That in 1986, we had one university in Uganda. But as of now, we have maybe 200 plus universities. But when you ask the graduates that come out of that university, the law don of Makerere, of Kabale Law School, said lawyers graduate and they don't know how to speak English. I am sure that some of the gentlemen here don't know even how to write letters. Good letters, yet they are graduates. So we must look at the quality.
Why are you looking at Bwenje after making
of course,
such a scandalous
Of course,
statement?
I know that Bwenje cannot write a very good letter.
Yes.
Yet he's
an advocate of the High Court.
An advocate of the High Court.
Yeah.
Because of the poor education system. That we have so many schools. No. We have so many schools. Today somebody can turn this building into a kindergarten and they start making money. And when this money, when President Museveni sitting at a macro level sees the money is increasing, he thinks that Ugandans are doing well. And that's what you're also thinking. He made a statement and said that when they came in power in 1986, they collected 5 billion as revenue. And today, they are collecting around 25, 26 trillion. But remember that at that time, the dollar was at 500 shillings, Ugandan shillings. Today, the dollar is 4,000. So when you get that 5 billion and multiply it by the 4,000, it means that you get something like 20 trillion. So there is nothing significant that has changed in Uganda, except the fact that we have produced more. Actually, I only credit President Museveni on one thing, the ability to create stability. So people are able to produce more children, and the children have grown. But as they grow through a struggle. And that's what differentiates Uganda from a country like Singapore, where they tell you that a prime minister, I've forgotten his name,
Lee Kuan Yew.
In just 35 years, he transformed Singapore from being a third world country to being a first world country. So when we come and then you are talking about your coffee, which I know that in the next 5 years is going to the prices are going to reduce now that it has moved to the Ministry of Agriculture. It will follow tobacco, it will follow cotton, it will follow the maize, it will follow cassava. You will start having a kilogram of coffee because so many people have planted it, and then they will be giving you 300 shillings. That's where we are heading. So for me, I am so much interested in economic development, that we have better roads, that our schools are producing graduates who can actually make cars, who can make hose, who can make objilta, who can make a bibilite, me Peter Mpaka, I'm a medical laboratory scientist. They only gave me theory. I cannot even manufacture a microscope. I can't even make a lens. So until we move into the quality of our population and stop looking at just the quantity, then we are missing the point. So for me, the whole State of the Nation address and the things of President Museveni, he was singing the same old song, he was doing a ritual, he was just repeating himself.
Okay. Bwenje, on the rule of law, the president talked about stability and how the different organs of the state are able to, do work smoothly because of the tranquility that is prevailing in the country as of now. What's your analysis on the state of the rule of law in the country?
Yes, I've seen the question of the day there. Hits and
Misses.
and misses of the State of the Nation address. And in my humble opinion, the president of Uganda, he did not hit anything and he missed everything. See, the State of the Nation address presupposes that Uganda is a nation, but we are not. And because a nation, above all things, you must have a strong army.
We have a very strong army with presence in the Democratic Republic of Congo,
And
South
you
Sudan,
have,
in the Sudan,
yeah.
in Somalia, in literally
So,
majority of the countries in the Great Lakes region.
And you must be united by something, language, ethnicity, or culture, or what. But the army we have here is the biggest perpetrator of torture. And you see, and I'm basing on torture because it is one of the 4 non-derogable rights under Article 44 of our Constitution. And the fact that we have a national army whose head or whose commander is partisan, he's a sectarian, because if you confine a human being in your basement and you beat him day and night because he does not know Nyankore, then the commander-in-chief is silent on the same. He doesn't, and even there's no internal disciplinary mechanisms under the UPDF, and the CDF is there. He's comfortable. He does not even make an apology. Then what kind of State of the Nation address really are you trying to give us? It's not there. And I want to thank the members of the opposition who did not attend it, because there's nothing new there. For example, you come and say that 80% of the people of Uganda know how to read and write. As a lawyer, the people who come to me, out of 10, 7 is saying that 8 of them know how to read and write. That is wrong. The people who know how to read and write, out of 10 people who come to me, it's just like 2.5, 2.5. So that is about 25%. Yes. Even if you ask any average lawyer, whether in Amudat, in Kabare, in Kampala, people don't know how to read and write. So you have to make a certificate of what? Of translation. You have to say, I went an advocate, I have truly and completely and what, and in a loud voice read to him the contents of his statement, because he does not know. They either don't know how to read and write, or they see words they don't know if actually this is English or Nyankore.
But do you have
bad.
an answer for Mr. Peter Mpaka?
Yes.
Who said even the lawyers who went and obtained an education to the highest level cannot express themselves, they cannot speak.
I know.
You and I know there are lawyers who don't know English.
Now, I think I have always stated that even if you are the best lawyer in Uganda, but the fact that Uganda is a third world state, you are a third world lawyer. Yes. Because you cannot rise above your society. So even if you go to the States, to Harvard and Cambridge and Oxford, and you get an LLB, you are still a third world lawyer. So to some extent, yes, he is right, because you cannot go to campus if, for example, you do not have O level and A level, and and I think I've always even stated it here. If you go to Bishop Stewart here, you find that around 97% of the students are from around here, from Isinjiro, from Ivanda, from Ushenya, and so
They come
forth.
from villages.
Yes, and the villages which have the worst schools. Okay, and so it cannot be so it is not easy for you to say that some lawyers don't know how to speak and write. Okay, but I think the heart of the argument is, do 80% of the people of Uganda know how to read and write? No. So I think Museveni's statistics are really bad. They do not reflect what is going on here. Okay, and to have a State of the Nation address which does not mention allegations of torture and so forth, then that's not a State of the Nation. Because we all know that the UPDF is very sectarian. It is engaged in torture. We know that the CDF is openly a supporter of the NRM. So we do not have any faith in the UPDF as a national army.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Ian Agawa,
Let me say
quickly.
something small about the industrial hubs that Katamba mentioned, and the Ministry of Investment. That, like Wenje has said, all the statistics and all the statements of President Museveni in that State of the Nation address are basically political. They are meant to portray a picture of a progressive state or nation, yet actually the nation is stuck. If you go to these industries like Sijui Amos Diaries or Pearl Diaries and so forth and so on, and ask these young boys who work there, they will tell you they are being paid 150 per month, 100,000, 200,000. So in such an economy, if somebody is getting 100,000 or 200,000, you are paying rent, you have to live. What quality of life do you think this person is going to live?
Okay. What is your assessment of the state of the nation, Mr. Ian Agawa, knowing that the president could have left out a few of those issues that may be pertinent to Ugandans? What do you think is the state of the nation?
Thank you, Council Wesige. The first miss really is about what is a state of a nation. A state of a nation is like a report card to the citizens. It is talking about an accountability year. It is not a history lesson. It's not a history lecture that you have to start with 1986, that you have to start with what was happening before I was born. No, it's not a history lecture. So what we saw the other day was a history lecture of telling us what has happened in 39 years. So a State of Nation address should be, what have you achieved in the previous year, because we have given you our money in the budget. What have you missed and what promises are you going to give us in the next financial year? That is why it happens after a year. So the first miss was that it was sort of a history lesson. We didn't capture what has happened in the previous year, and even those things, the few things that were captured were lies, and I'm going to justify why. The first issue was on PDM. When you read on PDM, because I mean that has been his biggest success, when you read on PDM, he says that people in Kabare were given 1 million and that they grew onions and that in just 1 year they have gotten profits of 16 million. Council Wesige, you have touched money.
I think that's not true.
Check,
no.
read.
Keep read. Right.
I want to
See, if
Council
you read,
Wesige,
if
I
you
want
read
to
that
debate
page,
with people
I
that
think
read.
it's
Read the document,
Page
the
9.
52 pager. Read it here.
It is actually 51 pages. And he's not saying that the 16M is for 1 year. He's saying the 16M is for 2 years.
Okay. Yes, Ian.
And they started with the capital
Let's,
of
Council
1M.
Wesige,
let's divide
not-
it. Let's
just
divide it
protect
by
8
two.
million. It's
8 million.
Yes.
Which is okay. Please. Let's allow him.
Council Wesige, you have touched money.
Yeah.
He has touched money.
Yeah.
Tell us a business of onions that you can use and generate 8 million within a year. How
Yeah.
many onions do they come from Japan?
1 acre.
1
Yes.
acre of 1 million. Anyway, let me go to another pertinent issue because they had their time and
Yes.
they didn't use it. The second issue that
No.
the second issue that
No, Bwenje.
Let me ask him a question. Let me ask him a
Correct me,
question.
Wesige.
How much is a bag of
Wesige,
what of
But you're going into form.
no.
You're debating form.
how much is
No.
an onion?
That is
Onions.
not substantial after
No,
all.
it is.
substantial.
It
Wesige,
is. It
protect
is.
me.
It is.
Let's
Because
allow
I have
the
a lot
gentleman.
of content
Yeah.
to give you that was missed, which I felt
Please,
that,
please.
that was not given.
Please educate
the
the
second
listener.
issue that we missed, when you read on peace, security, and stability, I think that was his first point. You opened that document because I want us to go well.
Yes,
He says,
chronologically, yes.
that as a nation we are peaceful. Yes. That as a nation we are secure, but the only problem is the non-traditional and traditional and activists. But what has happened in the previous year, Council Wesige? One, we have seen excess human rights violations. He doesn't mention that. And silence about something means that you accept and you agree with what is happening. We have seen people being tortured. We are seeing Ed Mutwe crying in court and saying that just cut my arms if that is okay because you don't want me to go and seek treatment. And the president doesn't mention that. We have seen the CDF coming every day on his X account saying that, oh, I am having him in my basement. I am teaching him Nyankore. You don't mention the violations that the army is saying. And that has happened in that year. We have seen disappearances of very many people, both in the opposition and those people that come out and say that this is wrong and the government. You mentioned one before the show started. You don't mention that in your State of Nation address. But what you tell us is a history lesson that you see in 1986. People were dying at 45. Now they are dying at 63. That is not a State of Nation address. Tell us what you have done to give us, to solve the problems. I also think another thing that he missed out was on the issue of social services. The president fiats and assumes that people down there are receiving social services. Because you see, when you read the health sector where he's talking about health, he says that, you see, as a country, we are growing health-wise. But what health is he talking about? Yet his own government officials, when they get sick, they have to travel to Kenya. They have to go to Aga Khan. They have to go to the US. You saw the other day, the former Minister of Internal Affairs, Sam Kutesa. Was he Internal Affairs or
Foreign Affairs?
Foreign Affairs. Sam Kutesa saying that when he got sick, he went to Germany. What is the solution to an ordinary Ugandan like myself who cannot afford to go to Kenya, who cannot afford to go to Germany?
You go to Mulago.
How much have we... Okay, let's talk about Murago. Just two weeks ago, Justice Murjanga, you saw what she was saying.
Yes.
What she was saying about Murago, that how her husband was suffering. This is the former IGG. Wesige. This is the former
a justice of the constitutional
a
court.
justice of the constitutional court and the former IGG saying that my husband was suffering. Then what is the what do you think that local person in the village is? What are they passing through? So let's understand that you're in the formal sector. I know.
Yes.
Bwenje, you're in the formal sector. 40% of your revenue is taken from you every year. 40%. What does that money do? It does nothing. How much has Roboa taken? how many people are getting social services like health services from hospitals. So for me, I expected the president to come and tell us how we are going to get the social services at a point where we pay our taxes, at a point where our hospitals have failed us. He talked about roads. We are still on social services. He comes and says that, you see, we have worked on roads. What roads was he talking about? Remember, we gave him our money last year of the budget. The roads he was talking about are roads that were constructed 7 years ago. The Matuga Chariwajara road, when did it start? It didn't start in the other year when we gave him our money. It was there 7 years. Those are roads, and those are the achievements he is saying that he has achieved in this year. So for me, I think, Wesige, the State of Nation address, we missed out critical issues that affect an ordinary Ugandan. Lastly, on the issue of poverty line. And that's why I have a problem with people who didn't read this document. He says in the poverty line that, you see, that only 16% of Ugandans are below the poverty line. How true is that, Wesige? Let's be practical and go on the ground. How many people, even in the middle class, even lawyers, even teachers, even doctors, that are suffering because the money that you are going to get, you're going to pay school fees for your child, you're going to pay rent, then at the end of the day, you even have debts.
Bwenje here cannot even employ a paralegal in his farm.
Exactly.
To pay them 10,000
Exactly.
a month because he thinks it's such a heavy burden. Is the economy so bad for even those that have gone through the highest training to even start their own opportunities?
Exactly.
Or it is simply a fallacy to think that the president, so many jobs are being created in the industrial sector and the service sector is growing, when tangibly the impact is not felt by Ugandans directly?
There is no impact.
Of course, there's his statistics, as Daria said, are bad. But the State of the Nation address is not specifically meant for accountability for the past year.
Why?
No.
Why?
You see,
Then why is it
You cannot-
done every after 1 year?
No, you see, you cannot know where you are going when you don't know where you came from.
But you're accounting for the money that
You see,
was given to you.
But
It's
what is the
accounting.
essence?
You see,
What is the
you
essence?
see,
Mr.
the
Bwenje,
State of the Nation.
Yes.
What have we as the NRM done?
in the last 40 years?
Yes, since the 26th of January 1986.
What is the essence? What is the essence of keeping
You
on?
see, Wenje,
What is the essence of repeating what you said last year or what you said in 1987? What is the essence?
No. What he said this year is not what he said last year.
Let me
No,
Wesije,
Yes.
You see, Wesije.
Yes. Let's allow
I
people.
think let's not waste our
If
show
you have a
on
document
Wenje.
of the
has
State of the Nation address of 2024, it is not the same as the State of the Nation address
You see,
now.
Wenje, when he entered the studio,
It is
he
not.
had a bottle. Wenje, when he entered the studio, he
no,
had
you
a
see,
bottle,
let
and you
us
talked about
respect
it. You talked about it. So I
Of
think
what?
he's offshore today.
No.
I want to say
No.
this. I want to say this. I really want to say this. I
Yes.
want to really say this.
Yes.
Allow us also, as you say, we respect you.
Mm.
But I want to say this. That thank God, the State of the Nation address, we may not give it a description in the way we want it to President Museveni. It is anyway his State of the Nation. But the moment it doesn't rhyme with the reality that we are talking about, then it ceases to be. Because when you speak about roads, people should say, yes, that's true. When you speak about health,
but I was
people
in
should
Masaka.
say, yes.
But I was in Masaka just about two days ago, and the roads are amazing.
Yes, for you, you may say the roads are amazing.
I
But for me, the roads I understand.
I sleep in Chamgorani.
The
That
roads-
road
the-
that I work in on Victor
Can
Bwana.
two cars bypass each other on that Chamgoran road? Can they?
I sleep in
If a
Chamgorani
truck-
and I work at Victor Bwana.
Yes. Yes.
The
If
road
a
is
truck-
a carpet.
If a truck breaks down on that road, can two cars bypass each other?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Wesley, are you sure?
Yes.
Why are you telling lies on radio? So for me, I want to tell Ugandans, that is a fake road. That is not a road. The one you're talking about.
You
going
want
to
a Kampala
For
Express
me,
Highway.
what I want to tell Ugandans is we thank God this is President Museveni's last State of the Nation address. In January 2026, we'll be voting him out through a protest vote, and we'll be able to have a new leader. No, it's not proper. Aren't we going for elections? Aren't we going for elections?
We want
Are
a new
we
leader,
not going
and
for
we shall
elections?
have a new leader. Those two statements are not the same.
So what are you saying?
So what we should concentrate on is how Uganda, how has Uganda changed, either for the worst or for the best within the last 40 years. Yes, I want to know what the NRM has done.
Yes.
Even if
Yes.
that was the case, as you know, I talk about the last issue. It is the issue of governance. He says that in the next financial year and in this previous year, they have fought corruption. Let's talk about that, Genja, if you want. Let's read the report of the IGG in this year. The IGG stated that the government is losing 10 trillion to corruption. That she has only achieved 1 trillion. So it was from 10, it is now 9 trillion to corruption. Wesige, so if Bwenje, you're coming and saying that, see, this is what we have achieved. What have we achieved if we are losing 9 trillion to corruption every single year, and you're saying that we are going to progress as a country? What you give us as a report, the purpose of IGG, it exists to protect the people. I mean, to stop corruption. So if you come and say that you're losing 9 trillion and you're not giving us measures on how you're going to fight that corruption, and then the State of Nation address, the president then comes and he also doesn't tell us how he's going to fight corruption, but the only thing that he tells us is in the next financial year and in the previous year, we have fought corruption, yet we are losing 9 trillion. Those are statistical figures. What is fighting corruption then?
Let me bring in.
You see,
Yes.
Mr. Wesige,
Previously,
Yes.
Movunya, you were talking to illiterates who would not digest some of these things. You're now addressing young people
Yes.
that are fairly informed.
yes,
And they are disputing some of the issues that you're raising.
yes.
They are
That-
watering
that is-
down the contribution that you're seeming
that
to
is-
have brought here.
No, that is where my stand is. You know, there are things that we must understand. When Museveni came to power, Uganda was full of problems and challenges. Number one was security. The insecurity that was in this country was alarming. In that,
You see, he wants to confuse us with his propaganda. Didn't Rwanda have issues of genocide when Kagame came into power? But can you compare the speed at which Rwanda is developing with how Uganda is?
no, where
So
is
you
it-
study
where-
the indices of Rwanda and compare them with
You see-
what's on what? What's on what? Maybe political liberties.
Example of development. Don't talk about Rwanda.
Rwanda, yes, don't talk about
don't
Rwanda.
talk about
Let me
Rwanda.
continue.
No, but we know that Rwanda is growing at a faster rate than Uganda.
What
Do you want to dispute that
development-
fact?
What is its
Development-
GDP? What is its
Composite.
GDP?
Growth, there is
See,
what
growth.
is its
development?
Wesige, on this show, I want to tell the listener to always differentiate growth and development. There is what they call economic
Biteko
growth.
muri nyankore.
Hati okukura, hariho okukura, ukaba omushaija mukuru. Ukaba omushaija mukuru okagira ebirezo okazarana n'abaana. Hariho n'eki barikweta entunguuka. Kushanga omwana wa 19 years aine assets ezikukiriho w'emyaka 6 kandi obwo okakura. So nyekindi kwenda abanyayuganda betegereze. President Museveni omu myaka 40 ekinkumusiimira akareta stability o entarotaro zawawo hata omuri ekyo kyayamba abantu kuzaara bakakanya omuntu aza Kenya omuntu aza Facebook internet naye kija oyiba omuzungu akwereza $, eze sente kuzikuija mu Uganda on a micro level M7 areba ngo twine sente. But the truth is the money of Ugandans is owned by 1% of the rich. The others we are nashing, we are struggling, the education is dead, the hospitals are dead, the roads are bad.
Thank you.
You know-
Let's allow Mufunya.
You know,
Just for a short while. Why I said that we should not exemplify Rwanda is because when you talk about growth and development, you must focus on both the civil and political rights, as well as the economic and social and cultural rights. Okay? The civil and political rights, as well as the economic, social, and cultural rights. You cannot mention Rwanda as a country which is interested in the civil and political rights.
Okay.
No, we want
let's
the
have
people
order.
of Rwanda to campaign freely, to vote for a candidate they want, to demonstrate, to speak freely.
Okay.
Yes.
Mofunya.
I have always said that a dreamer, a daydreamer. I don't know Peter Mpaka if he's coming into that category being a daydreamer, because now when I'm talking these things, they are factual, and he needs to understand. Because now that's an insult to moderator. That's an insult to my life, and he should check up, because if he repeats that one when I'm outside, when we're outside,
What does he say?
please be near us, because if I get outside with Peter, you will see. So now these are
What has he said?
Eh?
What has he said? Don't be
that
like.
I'm a Rumonga. No, not my age. I'm not coming to be Rumonga.
Don't be like
These are facts.
General Jim Mukwes, who
No,
was asked what has somebody said, and he said he has said nothing. If he has said nothing, then what?
I'm not a Rumonga. That's too hard.
Let's go to the lifeline of the show. The telephone calls on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Call in and let's get to hear from you on the topic of discussion. On X, we asked, what do you think about the State of the Nation address? Rukundo Ronald is saying, first of all, I congratulate Mao for being chosen as the president of the DP. My concern is, why did he shift the tent outside at our summer headquarters? I wasn't happy with that move. Then Nasasira David is saying the growing corruption in Uganda that has become the worst. Then Enoth Nwagaba saying he missed talk about his retiring. Okay. Dr. Nwagaba Jonah, you're saying you need to know that there is a big difference between making a public speech and talking issues of national importance. To me, without addressing issues of political pressure of the opposition, deployment of medical interns, unemployment, his address was void. David, you're saying he missed talking about companies that tell us to volunteer after paying more than $1 million per term or semester. I see Maridadi Simon Peter, you're saying he missed to talk about the connections given to employees to work in those sectors without qualifications. Alan Arinda, let me end with you, who is saying you're listening in from Nyamisindo in Masha. He missed talking about the salaries of the arts teachers. And then Alan Barnes, you're saying you're streaming from Bahrain. I want to thank you for being a part of the conversation. Those that are watching Cruise TV, I see Agava John, who is live in Chiruhura. Thank you to Andrew Tumsime. You're watching from, you're saying he missed to talk about the public apology that he did in church. Da Silva Brusso, you're watching all the way from Rukunjiri. Aina Clinton, you're saying Ian Agava regards. Ezra Chigdungu, who is praising Ian Agava there. Abaho Milton, you're saying Ian Agava. Well, Ezra Chidungu, you're saying he didn't talk about Bwenje should be taken to the basement. I want to appreciate everyone that is locked onto the TV, watching Cruise TV there. We are live on TikTok and YouTube. You can be able to just watch us just like that. On 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Call in and let's get to hear from you on what you think about the State of the Nation address. Turiai Kayo on Facebook, Leonard, you're saying, we are busy at work. I guess the speech wasn't meant for the day for the daytime shift workers. I see a couple of all of you, Arinda Allen, and he gave a blind eye to the issues of the rule of law and abductions of the innocent people. On 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set.
Hello.
Yes, caller. What's your name and where you calling from? Bakwetoha?
Eddie.
Yes, Eddie.
I want to thank you for that program.
Please. Thank you. You're welcome.
Kando gamba cha president na nindeba nkoko gumushiya ya gamba for sure etari state of the nation eberinka ebyakozere mu myaka ye kubanga omuntu oriko omushoro kushangana omutebeze ebintu by'emyaka n'inyuma. For real, it is not good. I thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that contribution on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. So call in and let's get to hear from you. The Big Set.
Yes, Big Set.
Yes, good morning, my brother.
Morning too. This is The Rock from Rentoa.
Yes, Dale.
Yes, now I would like our government to be as neutral as they did it. Because it's one of a kind. It doesn't support something wrong. It's always on point. Big up to him.
1752912 and 780-912-910. Shano Inenkech to the Big Set. Yes, my brother. Good morning. What's your name and where you calling from?
Joseph from Misinjiro Bukanga.
Yes, please.
Now to the national address of the president. Now I think he forgot to comment about education.
What's wrong with the education?
400,000.
I beg your pardon. You're speaking very softly. We can barely hear you. What are you saying?
I have said.
Yes.
The president forgot to comment about education sector, where you find the government school is paying over 400,000 money, where you find that a person who is on the low level cannot accommodate that money. They should improve.
All right, much appreciated. The Big Set.
Good morning, Bana.
Yes, good morning. What's the name and where are you calling from?
This is Derek calling you from Ruini.
Yes, Derek.
Nyangabo. Now, my comment on the President National Address is, on the side of areas, I think we are not yet there. But on the issue of security, I think we are trying, because if you come out and say that Edimuto, you start saying that we are not giving us information about Edimuto. So these are suspects, not just people. We need to wait. If the man is
all right, you are appreciated. Let me end with this final call. The Big Set. Yes, good morning.
Good morning and thanks to the program.
All right, what's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Jonan from Remba Kazo district.
Yes, Jonan.
I think President Museveni has ruled this country over speculation and false hope. Take for instance, I've had Petroleum of Uganda in 2003. Even now, they have not even brought a single liter of petrol. That maybe the prices have reduced and now the country is going forward. I think this country needs some prayers.
All right. Thank you so much for the feedback and for those that have been part of the conversation. I want to appreciate you. Don't stop. Keep it going on our social media handles, 912 Cruise FM on X and Facebook, 91.2 Cruise FM. On Cruise TV for TikTok and YouTube. Let the messages keep coming. We shall be able to engage and think of how to get our country forward. Our parting shots. Stephen Muvunya, in 1 minute, what is your parting shot?
My parting shot is that by the time President Museveni captured power, Uganda was full of problems and challenges. In his speech here, something interested me, that in 1986, when he captured power, there was only 114 motorable road. Today, he has constructed 6,199 kilometers of roads. Tarmac. What's that percent? It is around 100 plus. Lead networking in this country.
Movunya, thank you so
much.
No. Your minute is done.
Road is not there.
Yes, Bwenje, your parting shot.
And yet it is really so. Yes, I want I just have a piece of advice for my friend here, the young lawyer. Museveni didn't study law. She studied history, economics, and the
literature or something like that.
No, and the
political science.
And we all know that Karl Marx said that law does not exist in
a vacuum.
So however much you are a lawyer, you must know where you came from. Okay, so you must know what was the state of the nation.
The preamble of the Constitution clearly.
Yes, and if you read the judgment in the Tojkwatako case, I think it was Justice Kakuru. He started with the preamble. Where have we come from as a nation? So where we have come from is so important. So when Museveni comes on TV and said that in 1986 we had one person per one kind of maybe one lawyer per 1,000 persons, he is not wrong. He is trying to tell you that that was the state of the nation then, and now this is the state of the nation now. The state of the nation now might not be the same as he thinks it is.
Thank you.
He's not wrong to take us back to where we came from.
Peter Mpaka.
Yeah, for me, I want to tell our listeners that we must fight for quality and not quantity. We must work hard for development and not just growth. The indexes in your life at a personal level, at a family level, at a community level, even as a nation, should be able to point us towards development. Because, for example, the president said that the GDP is 1,600 something.
GDP per capita.
GDP per capita. But go and ask, that means that every Ugandan has aine dolar 10 na rukaga. That is around how many millions? Nkitano na something. But go and ask Ugandans, do they have that money in reality?
No, so what it means is that they are able to earn that kind of money averagely in a financial year. No.
So that's what I'm saying.
In a financial year.
That's what I'm saying, that the biggest chunk of Uganda's money is into corruption and is into people's bedrooms. So we must work hard to see. Let me even substantiate with this.
No.
I'm done. That you hear that engineers have graduated with mechanical engineering from Chambogo, but they cannot kukanika a small car. They cannot fix it. They have to come with the theory to Mairo 2 here in Imbarara for these small boys to kukanika the car. So let's work on development and quality rather than just growth and numbers.
Yes, Ian Agaba.
My closing remarks?
Yes, your parting
Thank
shot.
you so much, Councillor Wesige, for the invitation. And I am so excited and happy that I was able to share one or two critical issues with Ugandans. But to Ugandans, I think what we need to understand is that State of Nations happen every year, every after a financial year. So that is why they happen anyway. Last year we had one, the other day we had one, and next year we are going to have one. So next year when it happens, let us be critical and listen in and see if they are tackling issues that affect us. But with that said, you need to understand that your only hope, you have to work hard and you have to make sure that you provide for your family, because the state has proved that it is not there for you. Thank you. Yet, under the social contract theory, the state must provide for the citizens.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ian Agava. Thank you, Council Bwenje Deus did it. Thank you, Stephen Katamba Muvunya. Thank you, Peter Mpaka. Thank you, Albright, the man who is always behind the camera to make sure that you're able to view Chris Television very crystal clear like that. My name is Wesige Banyaji. My punchline this week is that young people, taking a general medical checkup is for your own good. Our people are dying because of conditions that could have been preempted if at all they were diagnosed on time. Have a fantastic week, and I congratulate Michael Bariomu Sunkuta, Michael, of the Evening Switch on the milestone. Today we are going to Kashari, and I can't wait, and I'm excited about the day. God bless you. We are out. See you next weekend. My name is Wesige. God bless you. Goodbye.